Resonate International with the mission to leverage knowledge worldwide. The topic is climate crisis and catastrophes. What we must do now. In fact, we have no option but to go beyond the brink, from disaster to resilience. Therefore, a call to action for a safer future. Ladies and gentlemen, natural disasters such as earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, and wildfires have been part of Earth's history for millennia. However, the recent surge in their occurrence and severity cannot be solely attributed to natural processes. Human activities have significantly exacerbated these events, turning them into catastrophic disasters. Just for a broader understanding, on a global scale, weather-related disasters over the past 50 years have resulted in over 2 million deaths and an economic loss around 3.64 trillion US dollars. If we take last 10 years, about 115,000 lives have been lost and an economic loss of 1.88 trillion US dollars has occurred. In 2023 itself, the estimated economic loss worldwide was approximately 380 billion US dollars. This includes damage to infrastructure, property, and livelihoods. Fortunately, out of this, $180 billion was insured loss. Rest $262 billion was thus the protection gap. Honestly, insured loss also involves public money only. So therefore, it's a huge value. Above shows how dramatically things have deteriorated over years, and especially in recent times. Over the past 5 years, we have witnessed far more catastrophic events that underscore the need for immediate and sustained action on investing in risk reduction, preparedness, and resilient infrastructure development so as to save lives and losses both. We also need to clearly understand the point of paramount importance in all above, the human role and the crucial lessons we have learned and must remember so as to avoid repetitions and repeats. The World Bank, along with GFDRR, plays a crucial role in guiding countries and communities on such issues. Initiative, however, needs to come from each nation for the sake of its citizenry, economy, and associated resultant misery in our interconnected world. The governments must realize their public responsibility. What has been done so far is simply insufficient for the multi-dimensional complex challenge in front, and because the situation is aggravating. Even for the sake of repetition, let's refresh our minds on what we are experiencing and facing, and what positive initiatives we have as examples, and why can't we accelerate our actions, as a lot of head start already exists thanks to the efforts made so far. The first is climate change and extreme weather events. One of the most significant contributors to natural disasters in recent years has been climate change. The increasing concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, largely due to human activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation, has led to global warming. This warming has in turn intensified weather-related disasters. We have examples like Australia's Black Summer in 2020, the 2021 Pacific Northwest heat wave in US and Canada. Cases of arson also, however, exist, where deliberate fires are started for selfish reasons by individuals. We have positive initiatives also. The Paris Agreement on Climate Change is a testament to international cooperation, with countries committing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limit global warming. The European Union's Green Deal is another example towards commitment to eliminate carbon and achieve climate neutrality, and it sets a benchmark for other regions to follow. The lesson learned is reducing greenhouse gas emissions is crucial to mitigate climate change. Transitioning to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and promoting carbon sequestration can help stabilize global temperatures. The second is urbanization, land use, and flooding. Rapid urbanization and unplanned infrastructure development has exacerbated the impact of natural disasters, particularly flooding, by encroaching upon natural floodplains and wetlands. As cities expand, natural landscapes that absorb rainwater are replaced with impermeable surfaces, leading to increased runoff and flooding. In hilly areas, landslides occur. 2021 severe flooding in Western Europe, particularly in Germany and Belgium, is an example. The heavy rains that triggered the floods were intensified by climate change, but the impact was worsened by inadequate urban planning and infrastructure. The 2005 Mumbai floods is another example. Construction on natural drainage systems and wetlands led to severe waterlogging, causing significant damage and loss of life. On land use, the 2020 Beirut explosion in Lebanon, caused by the improper storage of ammonium nitrate, highlighted the dangers of poor land use planning and industrial safety regulations. The positive initiatives also exist. Denmark has implemented the Cloudburst Management Plan, which includes constructing green spaces, permeable surfaces, and underground reservoirs to manage heavy rainfall and prevent flooding. This initiative provides a model for other cities to enhance their flood resilience. The Netherlands' stringent regulations on land use and flood defenses, including the Delta Works project, have effectively protected the country from severe flooding. The lesson is clear. Cities must invest in sustainable urban planning, including green spaces and proper drainage systems to reduce flood risks. Governments must enforce stringent regulations on land use, construction, and industrial activities. This includes restricting development in high-risk areas and ensuring compliance with environmental standards. Inadequate land use, its planning, and zoning regulations have allowed construction in high-risk areas such as floodplains and earthquake-prone regions. This increases the vulnerability of communities to natural disasters. Third, deforestation and landslides. Deforestation and urban tree cutting spree, driven by need for logging, agriculture, and infrastructure development, destabilizes soil and increases the likelihood of landslides. Forests play a critical role in anchoring soil, clouds precipitation, and regulating water flow. The 2010 Haiti earthquake, as an example, was devastating, but the impact was aggravated by deforestation. Haiti had lost 98% of its forest cover, leading to severe soil erosion and landslides, which compounded the disaster's effect. In 2018, devastating landslides in Kerala, India occurred. Same as happened now again. The deforestation of Western Ghats, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is leading to severe situation. The Amazon rainforest experienced severe deforestation, leading to increased flooding and landslides in the region. There are positive initiatives for sure. Costa Rica's reforestation program have successfully increased forest cover from 21% in 1980 to over 52% today. By providing incentives for sustainable land use and forest cultivation and conservation, Costa Rica demonstrates how rainforestation can reduce landslide risks and enhance the environmental resilience. The lesson learned: protecting and restoring forests and avoiding tree felling is essential to prevent landslides and other soil-related disasters. The fourth point is industrial activities and air pollution. Industrial activities release pollutants into the air, water, and soil, contributing to environmental degradation, contamination, and health issues. Furthermore, these pollutants can exacerbate the effects of climate change and can lead to more severe natural disasters. The 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy in India, caused by a gas leak from a pesticide plant, is a stark reminder. The 2019-20 bushfires in Australia led to hazardous air quality levels in cities like Sydney and Melbourne. The 2019 Siberian wildfires were partially fueled by industrial pollution. There are positive initiatives. The Clean Air Act in the United States has been instrumental in reducing air pollution from industrial sources. Denmark's transition to renewable energy, particularly wind power, has significantly reduced its carbon footprint. The lesson stands: stricter regulations on industrial emissions and investment in clean technologies are necessary to protect air quality and public health. The fifth point is water management and droughts. Inefficient water management practices, such as over-extraction of groundwater and poor irrigation techniques, contribute to water scarcity and droughts. These practices deplete water resources and make regions more vulnerable to prolonged dry periods. Untreated wastewater release further spoils the freshwater channels. As an example, the ongoing drought in California, which began in 2011, has seen severe intensification in the last 5 years. On the positive side, let's look at Israel. It has become a global leader in water management through innovative techniques like drip irrigation, wastewater recycling, and desalination. These practices have allowed Israel to efficiently use water resources and mitigate the impacts of droughts. The lesson learned: implementing sustainable water management practices and investing in water saving technologies are crucial to mitigate drought impacts. The sixth critical point is coastal development and hurricanes. Coastal development, including the construction of buildings and infrastructure close to shorelines, increases vulnerability to hurricanes and storm surges. The destruction of natural barriers like mangroves and wetlands further amplifies this risk. As an example, Hurricane Harvey in 2017 brought unprecedented rainfall and flooding to Houston. The city's rapid expansion and inadequate flood control measures significantly worsened the impact of the hurricane, leading to over $125 billion in damages and displacing thousands of people. The 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan highlighted the dangers of poor land planning. Coastal areas heavily developed without adequate tsunami defenses, and they suffered immense damage. On the positive side, the Netherlands Room for the River program aims to improve flood management by giving rivers more space to overflow safely. This includes relocating dikes, creating flood plains, and improving water storage. The program serves as an effective model for coastal and floodplain management. Lesson learned: coastal areas need robust zoning laws and natural buffer zones to protect against hurricanes and storm surges. The seventh key point is mining activities and earthquakes. Mining activities, particularly those involving hydraulic fracturing, which is called fracking, can induce seismic activity. The extraction of minerals and the injection of fluids into the ground destabilizes geological structures, leading to man-made earthquakes. As an example, in Oklahoma, the frequency of earthquakes has dramatically increased due to fracking activities. The 2019 dam collapse in Brazil, caused by mining operations, resulted in massive landslide, killing people and causing widespread environmental damage. There is a positive side also. The UK has implemented strict regulations on fracking, including seismic activity monitoring and immediate halting of operations if tremors exceed certain thresholds. These measures aim to prevent induced seismicity and protect communities from earthquake risks. Lesson learned: unregulated mining and resource extraction activity can destabilize the ground, leading to landslides and soil erosion. Additionally, the release of harmful chemicals during these processes can contaminate water sources. The eighth point in the list is agricultural practices and soil erosion. Unsustainable agricultural practices such as monocropping and overgrazing lead to soil erosion and degradation. This not only reduces agricultural productivity but also increases the risk of natural disasters like floods and landslides. The 2019 floods in the Midwest United States, which affected states like Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri, were aggravated by soil erosion and poor land management practices. On the positive side, the adoption of conservation agriculture practices in Brazil, such as no-till farming and crop rotation, has significantly reduced soil erosion and improved soil health. Lesson therefore, we must adopt sustainable practices in agriculture, forestry, and urban planning. This includes reforestation, conservation in agriculture, and the prevention of natural habitats to restore ecological balance. Overgrazing and excessive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides degrade soil quality and reduce its ability to retain water. This contributes to desertification and increased susceptibility to droughts. The ninth point in the list is transportation emissions and global warming. The transportation sector is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, which drive global warming and climate change. Increased temperatures lead to more intense and frequent natural disasters. The heat waves experienced in Europe in 2019 and again now, which broke temperature records across the continent, were all linked to climate change driven by emissions from various sectors, including transportation. These heat waves led to health crises and deaths, particularly among vulnerable populations. On the positive side, Norway's ambitious plan to have all new cars sold by 2025 be zero-emission vehicles sets a benchmark for reducing transportation emissions. The lesson learned: transitioning to low-emission vehicles and promoting public transportation can significantly reduce transportation-related emissions. The last point and the 10th point in the list is neglect of early warning systems, inadequate public education, and lack of awareness and preparedness. Despite the advancements in technology and forecasting, public awareness and preparedness for natural disasters remains inadequate in many regions. Effective communication and education are essential to ensure local administration and local communities can respond swiftly and effectively to disasters and their forecasts. As an example, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which resulted in huge number of casualties, highlighted the lack of effective early warning system in the region. Similarly, the eruption of Mount Taal in Philippines in January 2020 demonstrated how prompt evacuations and dissemination of information can help minimize casualties. As an example, on the positive side, Japan's comprehensive disaster education programs in schools and communities ensure that citizens are well prepared for earthquakes and tsunamis. Regular drills, public awareness campaigns, and early warning systems make Japan a global leader in disaster preparedness. Sweden's emphasis on environmental education in schools has fostered a generation of environmentally conscious citizens, leading to sustainable practices and policies. The lesson is clear. Despite technological advancements, many regions lack effective early warning systems and preparedness for natural disasters. This negligence hampers timely evacuation and rescue and relief efforts, resulting in higher casualties and greater damage. Having gone through all above, let's summarize the 10-point approach, which should form the basis for setting key metrics and targets based on some average, reasonable benchmarks and on short, medium and long-term basis, which can be tracked transparently as performance indicators and achievements to report in a yearly report card at every level of the administrative hierarchy. Let's summarize them. First, reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Second, sustainable urban planning. Third, protect and restore forests. Fourth, regulate industrial emissions. Fifth, sustainable water management. Sixth, robust zoning laws. Seventh, regulate mining activities. Eighth, promote sustainable agriculture. Ninth, transition to low emission transportation. And 10th, disaster preparedness, management and enhancing public awareness. In conclusion, humanity's role in exacerbating natural disasters is undeniable, but so is our capacity to learn and adapt. By addressing the root causes and implementing sustainable practices, we can build a future where incidents of natural disasters decline, and if at all they occur, they do not result in catastrophic losses. Natural disasters know no borders. International cooperation is essential for sharing knowledge, resources and best practices. Countless examples of wonderful initiatives and success stories in various parts of the world exist. Collaborative efforts, if undertaken, can enhance global resilience to natural disasters. The time to act is now, and together we can make a difference and reduce the frequency and severity of natural disasters, thus ensuring a safer and more prosperous world for all. Our beautiful and unique planet Earth, the only place we have for us and our coming generations to live and thrive upon, with Mother Nature and its gifts on it for mankind, must be protected well and taken good care. Each one of us carries this responsibility. Thank you and God bless.